start of the World Athletics Indoor Tour as we get closer to next month's European and World Indoor Championships. In just under 3 weeks, the Dutch city of Apeldoorn will welcome some of Europe's finest athletes for the European Athletics Indoor Championships, and there is just a week left for them to impress selectors by either achieving the qualifying standards or getting as close to it as possible. Next weekend's national championships will be held to help determine places for both that event and the World Indoors in Nanjing, which is just under 5 weeks away now. This is the programme then for tonight. We're about to get underway with the women's 3,000 metres. A couple of field events that we'll keep our eye on as well. The women's high jump and the women's triple jump. We'll finish our evening with the men's 60 metres hurdles final. In between that, we've got the women's 60 metres. We've got the men's 1,500, the women's 800, the men's 400 and the men's 3,000 metres as well. This is the start list then for the women's 3,000 metres. And included in this field, leading it, is Deribe Watelji, the mild world champion on the road from 2023. Of course, the 1,500 metres world silver medalist from the same year. She ran a world lead in the 1,500 metres in Lyon on Thursday night. Didn't fancy going out with the pace on that occasion, but her season opener was pretty solid for Watelji. Also in this field, Mercedes Almashete from Ethiopia, another hot talent from Ethiopia, 18 years old, the world under 20 5,000 metre silver medalist. There is Watelji, stepping up in distance tonight in Lyon. I'll take you through some of the other contenders to look out for in a few moments' time. Once we get underway, we are straight into the action in Lyon tonight. Well, there is Almashete. We just mentioned her a few moments ago. Carrie Hughes of Great Britain there as well. Sophia Torgensen is a PB of 8.50. Got a glimpse there of Jodie McCann of Ireland. Carla Gallardo of Spain in this lineup there. We saw one of the final athletes. Watch out for Mariana Machado. As we get underway then for this women's 3,000 metres, Deribe Watelji very much the favourite for this one. She was slated to actually run in Turin tomorrow. She's been scratched from that list. A busy schedule to start her season. Racing just a couple of nights ago in Lyon. The Pacers leading the way. So as well as Watelji in this field, we mentioned Almashete as well. One of the young talents coming through from Ethiopia. It is the two Ethiopians at the front in the early stages. Tucked in behind the pacer there is Watelji, and Almashete just behind her. Mariana Machado looked pretty impressive in Karlsruhe, on Friday last week. Second behind Lomi Mileta in that race, only just outside the qualifying time for the European Championships on that occasion for Machado. She'll be looking to go a little bit better today. She has a season's best of 8:57.77, but her lifetime best is within that European qualifying time. So you can see those two paces that are being set there. The green wave light that you can see running around the outside, set at 8:25, and that is the pace that they're going at round at the moment. The red wave light set at 8:41, so that would be well within the European Championship qualifying standard. As with Watelji and Almashete. Who are behind the paces right now. A couple of others to look out for running in this race. Sarah Madeleine, who we got a glimpse of right at the start, the French woman, in lifetime best form, 8:48.48. And Yanara Nebret as well, who's just tucked behind Watalji at the moment. She's also in the shape of her life, the Ethiopian, 8:35.86. They're right on the pace here. The world lead set by Verweni Hailu. That was also in Lyon a couple of days ago, 8:19.98. And the meeting record, 8:53.51. I think we're going to get that obliterated today. Athletes shaking off some of the cobwebs over the past few weeks. Now we're fully into this indoor season with the World Championships coming up next month in Nanjing. These delayed World Indoor Championships because of COVID. Delayed a couple of times actually. That's why we've got back-to-back World Indoors coming up. In Glasgow last year, and Turin again next year. But Watalji is looking pretty comfortable here as we approach the halfway mark now. And chased down by Nebret as well. We'll take a glimpse at the chasing pack there. Nebret at the front here. Watalji, the more experienced of the two Ethiopians, but Nebret, another talented Ethiopian with her, just 17 years old is Nebret, African under-20 silver medalist. And she's giving Watalji as good as she's got here, making Watalji think a little bit. And the paces have obviously dropped out now. And 800 metres to go. The chasers here being led by Mara Bouziani of Tunisia. And there's Hughes just behind her. And Madeleine is also involved there too. Don't see much of Mariana Machado as to where she is at the moment. Watalji very comfortably leading the way here. Can't see the wave light, looks like we've left those way behind. And so Watalji wasn't particularly interested in the pace over 1,500 metres in Lyon earlier this week. Looks like that might be the case on this occasion as well. crowd making a fantastic atmosphere inside this arena. We see some brilliant indoor racing already this season, with still the big events to come. Mortalji, who got off to a winning start just a few nights ago, could be heading for another one, but she needs to hold off this challenge from her less experienced fellow Ethiopian. There's just 400 metres left to go, just under 2 laps of this track, and now Mortalji might start to wind it up a little bit. The pace that was being set was for the former world leads to dip below those marks. Guda Sege is the second fastest in the world this year, and 8:25.12. She was second behind Hailu in Lyon. And before that race, elsewhere in France earlier this week, it was Whitney Morgan who was leading the way, the American. So final lap now, and still Mortalji has a bit of company in Nebret. And these four are competing for those final spots on the podium. Mortalji still has work to do to hold off Nebret, but she looks like she could comfortably do it. Has to put some more pace in. Actually, Nebret finishing really strongly. Mortalji almost living dangerously. And it's going to be Madeleine of France being cheered on by the home crowd, who takes their place. Well, Mortalji, just like she did a couple of nights ago in Lyon, easing her way into the season and easing her way into this race as well. She did go with the pace early in the race, but once the rabbit had dropped off, Mortalji also dropped off the pace as well, but she almost left herself a bit too much to do at the end there. And just held off the challenge from Nebret. There's so much depth in Ethiopian middle distance and longer distance running, of course, especially. You can see at this point they are right on the pace, but once that was abandoned, Mortalji controlling things on her own. The winning time, a meeting record, 8:39.49. Mortalji having to put in a little bit of a final burst just to hold off that challenge from Nebret. 8:39.57 for the 17-year-old. And Sarah Madeleine with a personal best time of 8:48.39. Those are the final results. Confirmation then, Deriba Mortalji, the mile road world champion, with victory. Not exerting herself too much as she eases her way into the season, ahead of Yanara Nebret and Sarah Madeleine of France, taking third. Well, these are the athletes being introduced for the high jump. We're a little bit behind the introductions here. This is Imke Onnen. Of Germany. Has a season's best of 193. It's the best in the field we've seen so far. Hruber of Czechia, former world junior champion back in 2016. There's Elizabeth Rehela of Estonia, the 2023 European junior silver medalist. I've had a withdrawal from this event. Katerina Tabishnik of Ukraine, the European indoor bronze medalist from a couple of years ago, has been scratched from this list. So the favourite heading into this is Kim Kyonen, the World Championship finalist from 2019. 30 years old now, the German. So we hear from Sarah Medellin. So there was Sarah Medellin. We've had one event then so far this evening. Dariba Wataji just getting a little bit of speed endurance in her legs ahead of what could be a title challenge at the Worlds Indoors. As we return to the high jump competition. That was Fatoumata Bari, African Championships bronze medalist last year. Season's best so far of 185. The bar currently set at 176. World lead, incidentally, set by Mariana Zodchik. 198, the highest leap so far this season. And next on the track, we're going to be focusing on the men's 1500 metres, and you might be able to hear just in the background the athletes being introduced. We've already heard Benoit Campion. And an intriguing entry into this is Britain's Callum Elson. Mile silver medalist over the World Road Championships. You might remember he was all going so well for him until at the World Indoors in Glasgow last year, suffered a freak injury. He tore his Achilles after he was clipped by some spikes during a race, and it ruled him out the entire season last year. It was going so well for Callum Elson up until that point. He, as I mentioned, already won silver at the Road World Championships behind Hobbs Kessler, of course, in fantastic form. The former footballer Callum Elson, he was in the Leeds Academy. Let's see how he gets on tonight, the man from Great Britain. In terms of some of the favourites for this race, though, Vincent Keita of Kenya, 22-year-old, a world junior 1500-metre gold medalist from 2021. Getnet Wale is also in here, the steeplechaser, who just missed out on a medal, didn't he, back at the World Championships in Eugene. Fourth on that occasion. He was fourth in the 3,000 metres in Glasgow last year. So close to achieving a global track medal. See how Getnet Wale gets on tonight, the Ethiopian. Paul Anselmini of France is also in here. He was second in Miramas recently. European under-23 800 metres bronze medalist from 2023. I'll get our full instructions now to some of those contenders. We've seen Keita, we've mentioned Wale already as well, and there is Anselmini. Pierrick Jocteur Montlosier has a lifetime best of 3:37.64. Ignacio Fontes of Spain, a world finalist from 2022. There is Campion. There's Callum Elson, we mentioned him. Excited to get his return to the circuit underway. Just to let you know, the World Championship standard, 3:33.50. The European Indoor Championships, 3:37. So that's what we're looking at for the major championships, which are coming up. So the season opener for Callum Elson, and I've mentioned him a couple of times, just because he was really starting to make his way in track and field before that freak injury at the World Indoors in Glasgow, and this is his return. His big return and his season opener. Pacers have been asked to go out at a time of 3:34.50. That is just outside of the World Championship standard. The red wave light there is just half a second outside of the European Championship standard. So that's the, you can see the two goals that are being chased here. The two times that are set for the big championships which are coming up. The Europeans, of course, of no interest to the Africans at the front. There's Keita just on the heels there of the pacer, being followed there by Wale, just as we expected it to be. And this pacer is doing a good job right at the front of this pack. They're all strung out. Not many that you can completely rule out of contention at this stage. And actually it's starting to get away from this pacer, that light at the front there, and Beret is the man in third place. That's Anselmini just on the shoulders of Beret. And now he's starting to come through, and the pacer's job is done, and now they'll get racing. So Keita leading the way at the front, just chased down by Wale behind him. Anselmini, the Frenchman, is in third spot. And we heard during the Olympics, didn't we, just what a massive impact this French crowd can make to their athletes. These four then, with about 2.5 laps to go, and Keita now starting to stretch the pace a little, followed by Wale, and then Mberet, and then Anselmini, and it's these four. So Keita just ahead of everyone else. Wale and Beret and Anselmini in fourth place. Just trying to get a glimpse of who that is in fifth there. But these five all strung out in a row. Now Anselmini maybe just starting to think about making a move himself. And so Tyler Billiard of Great Britain, who's in fifth place, in a pretty good place as they head into the final lap. And now Anselmini makes his move and he bursts to the front. The 21-year-old Frenchman. Has he gone too early? Is there anything left for Keita and Wale? Anselmini looking strong. It's still Keita behind him and Wale in third spot, and Anselmini just starting to tie up a little bit, but can he hold strong? Finds another burst of pace and he will cross the line first, and a success for France. Anselmini takes first place ahead of Vincent Keita. Meeting record as well for the 2023 European 800 metres bronze medalist at under 23 level. He reached the semis in Rome last year at the European Championships, so he really is starting to make his mark in the sport, is Anselmini, and he'll leave here with a meeting record. I'll make that as well. It's ever so slightly just below his own personal best, and we're talking fractions there. He's lapping up the ovations that he's receiving from his French crowd, and why not? And Vincent Keita came in for second. It was Getnet Wale who finished in third spot, just beating Pierrick Yoktia Monrosier. Not sure where he came from at the end. A job well done for Paul Anselmini. Take a little look back at some of the highlights from this race. Was the season's best for Keita. He went off as the favourite. This was his season opener over this distance, but he did compete in Lyon in the 3,000 metres just a couple of nights ago. Came 10th on that occasion, as did Getnet Wale when he finished third. Maybe that race, the 3,000 in Lyon, just took a little bit too much out of the legs of Wale. He wasn't able to really maintain any serious challenge at the end. You can see him working really hard at the end. The crowd helping to carry Anselmini to victory in Lyon. And let's hear from him. So there's Paul Anselmini, giving the French fans a lot to cheer in the early stages of this main section of the meet. It's been going for a couple of hours actually. So we move on to the women's 60 metres hurdles, and two heats here. We'll advance to the final a little bit later on. That coming up, the women's 60 metres final at 9:33 local time, so a little over an hour's time. Let's introduce you to the athletes in this field. Lina Lalage in lane 1. Sidoni Vianazzoa in 2. Solène Compère is the fastest on paper in terms of her lifetime best, the only athlete in this race at least who's dipped below 8 seconds in her career. Crystal Morrison though, one of those in the best form. 8:01, her lifetime best achieved this season. Helena Yeronova is also in this one. They'll be the two favourites to go through from this one. Genia Benach of Spain in 6. Alicia Moraro in 7. And Karin Stramets in lane 8. Not the best lane draw for the World Indoor semi-finalists from last year. One of the more well-known names in this field. So Lalage in 1. Fiad Anorzoa in 2. Compère in 3. Morrison 4. Jiranova in 5, Benash in 6, Moraro in 7, and Stramets is in lane 8. So do get away first time. It's a decent start from Morrison right in the centre, being challenged by Jiranova, but it's going to be Morrison who takes it. 8:05 the winning time, so job done for Jamaica's Crystal Morrison. She'll hope that she's got a little bit more to give. Maybe dip below the 8 seconds for the first time in her career a little bit later on. Look at this start again. It's fairly even, but it was a solid start from Morrison. Actually pretty decent from compare, but then she started to clatter a few hurdles there, and then Jackson coming through just ahead of Jiranova. These were the two favourites to go through. Compare faded quite quickly. Just took a couple of knocks. You can see the disappointment on her face on the right there. So Crystal Morrison and Helena Jiranova have secured their place in the final a little bit later on. The two fastest qualifiers go through automatically, and then the rest of the fastest athletes from across the two races will also advance. Let's head over to the high jump. The bar is currently set at 1.84 m. We've lost one athlete already, Fatuma Bayi. Imke Onen then, the favourites, take victory in this event, and over with a meeting record of 184. The German looking in good form and clear with some room to spare over that bar. First time clearances for Onen in both of her two heights so far. She declined 172 and 176, entered the competition at 180, clear first time there, and again at 184. And just out of shot there, Michaela Huber has also cleared 184. Heat 2 then of the women's 60 metres hurdles. And out of this field, well, who's in the best form this season? Victoria Forster, the double World University Games gold medalist from China in 2023. Mallory Zhu in lane 1. 8:21. Her lifetime best set this season. Laura Villette, another French woman, in lane 2. 8:29 this season, but capable of better than that. 8:06 is her personal best. Anja Lukic, 8:06 her season's best, also her lifetime best. There is Forster. Competed both in Paris and at the World Indoors and the Euros last year. Sara Keskitalo of Finland goes in 5. In lane 6 from Estonia, Krita Berlin. Judy Schauku. She has dipped underneath 8 seconds, forgive me. She has gone beneath that before. 7:98, a little while ago now. 8:19 is her season's best. And then Ushian Bujou in lane 8. So remember, the first two will go through automatically to the final a little later on. So we get a little glimpse of the triple jump competition, which we'll hopefully dip into a bit later on. Jouet in 1, Valette in 2, Lukic in 3, Forster 4, Kesketalo in 5, Verd in 6, Xiaoku in 7, and Bijou in lane 8. A little bit of distractions going on either side, but they are away first time, and Forster is ahead in this one. Just next to her is Lukic, and Lukic may have just dipped below to finish ahead of Forster. Either way, it looks like it was Lukic and Forster who will be heading through to the final. Yes, Lukic has been given a win. 8:10, just ahead of Victoria Forster, who is ever improving. And then it's just about who came third and fourth, and whether they're quicker than the heats from the first race. I'm not sure they are than the third and fourth athletes, but they might just sneak in after that. Lukic having to dip at the line just to hold off Forster. Watch Lukic just on this right-hand side. Technically clean throughout. And safely negotiated. And there is confirmation that just ahead, Lukic. So those were the heats of the women's 60 metres hurdles. And next up on the track is a little bit of a gap. It's the women's 800 metres coming up in around 5 or 6 minutes' time. Women's triple jump will be starting in around 10 minutes, and that features the current world leader, Leonis Perez, will be going in the triple jump. As we return to the high jump bar, still at 184. This is Heta Chiri, and she's already failed with one attempt. There's still one more to go for Chiri. In fact, that might have been her last effort for Chiri. That was her last effort. The result system, I'm afraid, had not updated itself. Heta Chiri is out of the competition then at 180. The 4 times national champion in Finland. So three are definitely clear. Onen, Huber and Pihela. And Glenka Antonia. This is her final attempt. And she will not be continuing her competition. The Dutch athlete is bowing out, having failed to clear 184. So the competition now down to just 3 athletes. raised to 188.
C'est la 4e édition du meeting national indoor de Lyon, un meeting classé argent par la Fédération internationale World Athletics qui permet aux athlètes de remporter des points pour ensuite se qualifier pour les championnats d'Europe.
As I mentioned, you can just see on the left-hand side, the pits just directly in front of you there. The triple jump competition is being readied. It's a pretty good field, actually. It's probably one of the strongest fields that we have assembled at Meeting de Lyon this evening, in that we do have Leonis Perez and Seni Salmonen, who was a former world lead, and Leonis Guillaume as well of France, the European bronze medalist, who will get a huge cheer. Set a new season's best, Guillaume, just a couple of nights ago in Lyon. Tukba Danishmash is also there from Turkey, European indoor champion. So plenty of talent. Could be a pretty good competition, that triple jump. That's coming up in just a few moments' time. We've still got the women's high jump ongoing though, and Imke Onnen. No failures so far for Onnen. And still, that remains intact. So the bar actually has been raised to 187, and that's the mark that Onnen has gone clear. Can Kruber join her? Kruber then at 187. Again, no failures at all so far. And that's the first blemish on her record, which may count a little bit later on when it comes to deciding the winner, perhaps. As we move back to the external track, the 800 meters. Lilian Odira of Kenya last year won silver at the African Championships. Has no indoor record though, Odira, so it'll be interesting to see how she gets on here. Charlotte Pizot of France, Anita Horvat of Slovenia, European indoor silver medalist from a couple of years ago. Maria Irathabal dipped below 2 minutes outdoors last 2 seasons. Irathabal. Shala Dumat, Laura Hoffman of Switzerland, and Veronica Vancado, and Asia Raziki, and then right on the inside there, Kimberly Vecinec of Czechia. So the fastest in this field, in theory, could be Lilian Odira. She has a lifetime best of 1:58.53 outdoors, but no indoor record to speak of. Got to the semi-finals in Paris. And away they go then. For 4 laps of the track. And racing out in front there. Actually, the pace having to work really hard to hold off Riziki. Riziki, who has a lifetime best of 2:03.30. She went out really hard, but then dropped back a little bit. They've gone off pretty quickly here. Those two wave lights you can see at the bottom are set to the two qualifying standards of the World Indoors, the European Championships as well. I think the pacer just had to work really hard and went out far too quickly. She's ahead of the pace. Now starting to slow it a bit. I think it's because she struggled a little bit to get out in front of Riziki, and now actually the pace is starting to drift a little bit. So maybe took a little bit too much out of her legs. Anyway, maybe that will get back and settled in a moment. Riziki there then is the leading athlete of the field of those who are actually challenging for the win here. And then just behind her, Lyon Adira, as I said, has no indoor record to speak of, and she's just letting that pace drift as well. And so with Adira and Riziki not really pushing that pace, Pizzo instead heads to the front, and now they're just about inside that European qualifying mark, and Pizzo is now leading from the front. And maybe now Adira will start to push it. Now she's making her move, the Kenyan. So Adira moves to the front ahead of Pizzo, and can Pizzo respond to this? Hoffman coming out on the outside and coming into second spot. Adira racing clear. Adira will take the win ahead of Hoffman. 2:01.25. So Lyon Adira getting her first experience of racing indoors. Unable to dip below 2 minutes as she has been outdoors. It was Lorena Ibarzábal of Spain who produced a strong finish at the end there to take third place. Season's best though for Lorena Ibarzábal, who is inside that European Championship standard. She's the Ibarzábal out just outside of it. Laura Hoffman was second of Switzerland, so she is just inside it. And for Hoffman, it's a significant season's best. The entry standards for this actually started before the last World Indoor Championships, so Hoffman already had the entry standard from her achievements back at the World Indoors when she finished 6th in the semis in Glasgow. She ran almost 2 minutes dead on that occasion. If you watch Adira take that victory. Confirmation of the results then. Lyon Adira taking first place ahead of Laura Hoffman of Switzerland, and then Lorena Ibarzábal of Spain taking third just ahead of Charlotte Pizzo, who did at least set that race up when she decided that Adira wasn't quite pushing the pace enough. Well, back to the women's high jump. Bar at 190. So just to bring you up to date to where we're at, Imke Onnen did go clear on her first attempt at 187. Gruber achieved the mark with her last attempt. That was the same situation for Elizabeth Behela, and those are the three who are still left in this competition. So Imke Onnen has failed with her first attempt at 190. So has Michaela Gruber, and here is Elizabeth Behela. Just abandoned that a little bit too late. A little bit uncomfortable, actually. She almost knocked it off with her head, the bar. She looks absolutely fine. You can often see athletes abort their jumps, but that looked a little bit uncomfortable for Pihela. No harm done. So no athletes clear yet at 190. 3 still in the competition. Start list then for the women's triple jump. As I said, it's a strong lineup here. Just a couple of the introductions. Kira Vidman is there. And here is the world lead. Leonis Perez. Set the mark to beat this year so far, 14 meters 62. The world indoor silver medalist from last year. Tugba Danizmaz, the 2023 European indoor champion. Marina Sine was at the last European Championships and the World Championships as well. Stanley Salmonen at one point was the world lead, the Finn. Listen to this cheer. Ilonis Guillaume of France achieved a European bronze medal in Rome last year. She was 12th in Paris. From Japan, Moriko Morimoto, 2023 Asian champion. Nia Filipic has already won their gold level event in Astana. That was the first on the world indoor gold level. And Diana Ion of Romania, who was 5th at the European Championships in Rome, and also competed at the Olympics. So it's a really good field, this. Should be a decent competition as we return to the high jump. And Fruba, second attempt at 190. One more for her. Fruba's not cleared 190 this season so far. She's got a lifetime best of 195. All 3 who are still left are capable of this height, including Elizabeth Pihela, who has cleared 188 this season. It's gone up to 192 in the past. It's well within her capabilities. I'll let you know what actually happened with that in a few moments' time. As we've skipped to the triple jump. And Clémence Rougier. Just to bring you up to date, what is going on in the high jump? Don't want to leave you hanging too much. The bar is at 190, as I said, and Imke Onnen has failed with her first 2 attempts, so has Fruba, and now so has Pihela. She did not clear the bar, so 1 leap left for each of those 3 athletes to keep the competition alive. Turn of the men's 60 metres hurdles now. And same format as the past event for the women. The first 2 will go through, and then the fastest qualifiers from the 2 heats. Raphael Gomis of France in lane 1. Cameron Ingu of France as well in 2. Youssef Badawi Syed in 3. Yakub Al-Yoha of Kuwait, the Asian Games champion from 2023. Season's best of 7:76, lifetime best of 7:52 though, one of the fastest in this field, as is Zoel Manga, the world indoor bronze medalist from 2018, got a European bronze in 2019. It's extremely competitive to get on the French team for the hurdles at the moment. But he is one of the contenders, Manga, if he can put in a good showing here. Diol Pedre of France in 6. Philippe Demsa. Lifetime best 770, 778 this season for Demshah. Reached the semis in the Euros in Rome last summer. And Evan Goussard will go in lane 8. So the first 2 to go through automatically to the final a little bit later on. That'll be the last event on the track. Now Joha and Manga. With pressure to go through to the next phase. Manga currently sitting in 3rd spot in terms of the 4th spot, in fact, behind his fellow Frenchman. In terms of the 3 spots there are available to each nation. Just behind Pascal Martineau Lagarde, so watch out to see if he can beat 7:54. That'll be his aim. Looked like Youssef Badawi sired in lane 3 there. Maybe went a little bit early. And there he is, the potentially guilty party here, the man from Egypt. All of these events can vary in terms of just how lenient the officials want to be, whether they want to give them another chance or whether it is strict. One false start and you're out. One false start sets a precedent for the others. He's waiting on rather nervously here, Badawi Sayed. So Badawi Sayed will dip out. Just to have a look at the footage. I don't think you're going to find here that it's the news he'd be hoping for. So whilst the conversations continue, the athletes will get ready to reset. Gomis in 1, Ngo in 2, Ayua in 4, Manga in 5, Padre in 6, Demshah in 7, and Gossard in 8. Remember this narrative as well of who can get on the French team. As I was mentioning just now, Manga currently sits in 4th place for the European Indoor Championships, just behind 3 of his fellow teammates. First 2 to go through. This time they do get away cleanly. It's a good start by Ariuha. And now Gomis is starting to come through the field. And actually it's Manga with a really good finish, 7:59. It's looked in good form, has Manga. And Manga goes through to the final a little bit later on. And it is this fascinating battle that's emerging between Manga and Martineau Lagarde, Kwao Mate and Bolostian. Every nation has a maximum quota of 3 for the European indoors. Per race, and let's look at this again. Ayuha made a really good start. Wasn't the best from Manga, and then he started to get into his running. Ayuha started to falter a little bit, and Manga was quite quickly into the lead. If you can just get that start right, Manga. Or maybe he can just get ahead of a couple of his fellow Frenchmen. For the World Indoors, incidentally, it's even more of a tougher challenge. Just the top 2 per federation. And confirmation of those results then. So Manga going through, and so does Theo Padle. Yaku Bauyuha will have to wait and see. So the high jump competition is all finished. And no one was able to clear 190 in the end. Imke Onnen wins on countback ahead of Michaela Gruber and Elizabeth Pehela. So the triple jump then. And Leonis Guillaume. Just bringing up to date what's going on so far. Leonis Perez, the world leader, is ahead here as well. She leapt 14 meters 19 with her first attempt, just ahead of Seni Salmonen. I say just ahead, she's well ahead. Perez, the only to clear 40 meters so far. Can Guillaume get close to at least her season's best of 13.98 a couple of nights ago in Lyon? She's progressively getting better as the season goes on, which is, of course, the point. You don't want to be peaking now. That's not going to get clear. Her season's best so far for Guillaume. Guillaume with a leap of 13 meters 80. It's actually not that far from her season's best of 13.98, but puts her in third place for now. She'd be looking to improve on that. Heat 2 of the men's 60 meters hurdles. The fastest in this field, at least in terms of their lifetime best, is Daniel Cisneros of Spain. Mateo Caillard of France is in lane 1. Leo El Akha, another Frenchman, in lane 2. Say in terms of lifetime best, Daniel Cisneros is the fastest, but the quickest this season is this man, Jeremy Lara-Reduce. Reduce with a season best of 7.66, which is the lifetime best for this man, Romain Lecoeur. Abdul Larinaga of Portugal goes in lane 6 in those Sporting Club de Lisbon colours. Very iconic, of course. Serge Daha of the Ivory Coast in lane 7, and Richard Diawara Matingu will go in lane 8. For the first two to go through, Pascal Martineau-Lagarde was due to be here tonight. Originally on the start list, we could have had that intriguing battle continue between Manga and Martineau-Lagarde. No doubt Martineau-Lagarde will turn up on a meeting close to here over the coming days and weeks. So, Caillard in 1, El Akha in 2, Cisneros in 3, Lara-Reduce in 4, Lecoeur in 5, Larinaga in 6, Taha in 7, and Diawara Matingu in lane 8. A little bit too much chatter, perhaps a little bit too many distractions inside the arena, so the officials asked the athletes to stand up. Nothing that these athletes have done wrong here, but the officials just not happy with what was going on, so they just want to reset everyone. lots and lots going on inside the arena. It's just the one field event, the triple jump competition, which is right next to this 60-meter track, of course. So they will reset, and I'll remind you of the athletes in each lane. Caio in 1, Alaka in 2, Cisneros in 3, Lara Reduced in 4, Lecoeur in 5, Larinaga in 6, Taha in 7, and Diawara Mantingu in lane 8. First two to go through to the final. So they get away first time. A little bit of a look to the left there from Cisneros. There's Lara Reduce comes through nice and cleanly. 7:68 the winning time. Nice and comfortable for Lara Reduce. And he's straight down to get ready for the final. Get himself warmed down and get any treatment that he might want. There's quite a bit of chaos going around him, and plenty of clattered hurdles behind him, but he just let that fade into the background, did Jeremy Laradus. From Mauritius, the African Championship silver medalist, cruises through just ahead of Serge Taha of Côte d'Ivoire. And the final will take place a little bit later on. It'll be the final event of the night. To the triple jump then. This is Clémence Rougier. No mark with her first jump. Everyone has now had their first effort, and Perez leading the way ahead of Salmonin and Guillaume. And Lyon in fourth place. Here is Rougier. Looking to at least get an attempt on the board is Rougier. Young athlete Rougier, been on the circuit a bit over the past few weeks. 13:83, her lifetime best, 13:58 this season. Just a couple of minutes time, we'll switch our attention to the men's 400 meters, and the world lead is here tonight. It's Hila Molnar. Let's see if he can continue his impressive form. Not before we see Kira Wittmann. Next on the runway, the German. MC orchestrating this crowd. Wittmann will be looking for an improvement on that. Of course, finished in 7th place at the European Indoor Championships from a couple of years ago. Still very young, of course, as well, 24. Still plenty of room of improvement for Wittmann. of it, but no improvement on her first leap of 13.37, 13.23. That's video evidence. Just to check off what the any technical deficiencies they can iron out for the next round. Over to the men's 400 meters then, and Attila Molnar will be going in this. In fact, he's just been moved from our start list. Just the last few seconds, we moved to the A final, which does make sense. Literally before my eyes, that changed in the last moment or two. In this race, though, Matej Krček, who has been having some decent battles with Molnar. They're quite close in terms of their ages and their records. Gilles Buron, 46.67 is his season's best. And Lyon Spitz of Switzerland, nicknamed the babyface assassin, because he looks a little bit younger than he is. 24 years old. Lyon Spitz, the European under-23 silver medalist from a couple of years ago. Mikel Fernandez of Spain is also in this. Didn't have the best time in Karlsruhe recently. Was disqualified for a false start. Just the early season nerves getting to him. But Matej Krček of Czechia, 6th in the world indoors last year. Competed at the Olympics as well. Their lifetime bests are not that dissimilar between himself and Molnar. He's among the world leaders, not the world lead. A little bit disappointing. You don't get to see them race up against each other. The men's 400 meters then underway. Spitz in the inside, just outside here is Buron, and Krček in lane 5, and Fernandez on the outside, to get his season up and running after that disappointment in Karlsruhe with the surprise disqualification. As they move now to the inside, and Fernandez is going really well here, and so is Buron. Krček's got a lot of work to do here. Now he's just starting to wind up the pace, but he's in danger of getting left behind by these two. Maybe he's left it too late, Krček. Fernandez rounding this bend, trying to slingshot his way around, and here comes Krček having to take the scenic route if he's going to take the victory here. Krček is finishing strongly. Fernandez is struggling a little, but does take the win. Buron looked like he just got second place, just ahead of Matej Krček. And Krček has run a lot better than that this season. And Mikel Fernandez putting that disappointment behind him of the Karlsruhe disqualification, which was a bit of a surprise. It was just very noisy inside the arena. You don't get to usually see a disqualification of 400 meters indoors, but that was the case on that occasion. Meeting record as well for Fernandez, so 46.30. Krček with a 46.47, run 45.85 this season, given Molnar some decent races. Fernandez really powered into that bend, didn't he, when the lanes were abandoned. Krček tried hard at the end, but left himself a little bit too much to do, finishing behind Gilles Buron. Attila Molnar is coming up. His world lead actually was taken off of him yesterday, overnight, by Chris Bailey of the USA, who Ran a 44.70, so you might see in a minute the marks coming up on your screen saying that it is a world lead from Attila Molnar. It's actually just been beaten to that, so let's see whether he can retake that in a few moments' time. The start blocks all being put back in place. Back to the triple jump then. Sini Salminen. The second jump. 13.85 was her mark to open with. There's a couple of officials in the way there, so I'm not really sure exactly what she managed there. I'm not sure she was happy with it, so may not be any improvement for Salminen. It's 13.56 for Salminen. So no improvement for the Finn. It's a little offline here, which also lost a little bit of flight. The cheers you can hear in the background are for Lyon of France. I'm not sure we're going to see it. You might hear it if it's a good one. And she started with a leap of 13.80. We'll come back to it and see how she got on. This is the start list for the A final. Those two results from both of these finals will be combined to find the winner overall. Quite a tight, compact track here in Lyon. That's a 13 meters 53 for Ioannis Guillaume just now. Next up is Mariko Morimoto, 2023 Asian champion, 29-year-old from Japan. Season's best so far of 13.40. She started with 13.28. Such as the current strength, by the way, in women's triple jumping, that the marks are, the qualifying marks that is, being set for the European Indoor Championships and the World Indoors are pretty tough. 14.35 for the European Indoors and 14.60 for the World Indoors. There is, of course, more ways to qualify than just the entry standards that will pretty much guarantee your place. You've still got the world rankings and the national championships as well, so there's the federations who will be setting their own standards on top of what's being set by the European and world federations. To the A final then, and João Coelho of Portugal will go on the outside lane. Fourth at the World Indoors in Glasgow was Coelho, so just missed out on a medal. Attila Molnar, who until overnight in Europe was the world leader with 45.08 when he won in a national record to win in Ostrava earlier this month. Big cheer for Jan Spielmann of France, going lane 4, and Gustav Nielsen of Denmark will go in lane 3. So Molnar has had his world lead taken off of him by Chris Bailey of the United States. 44.70. It's a big old chunk off of that world lead. Molnar,
on your mark.
the second best in the world now this year. Can he improve on that 45.08? Coelho in 6, Molnar 5, Spillman 4, Nielsen 3.
Set.
Coelho's not been in his the best of form that we know that he can be so far this season. Molnar's gone out like an absolute train, already up on Coelho, and rounding this bend with real power. Spillman also looking fairly good as they now make that dash for the inside, and Molnar will power to it, and he's way out in front, being chased by Spillman. And Coelho in third place. Molnar running quickly though, with real intent here. Molnar maybe smarting a little bit from finding out that his world lead has disappeared from him. Molnar running strong, chased by Spillman, just starting to tie up a little bit. And Molnar will come through the line though for 45.57, so no improvement on his national record that he set already this season. Still a decent time for Attila Molnar. Just sits down on the track and takes it all in. Looking like a really strong contender for a major medal over the next month or so in Apeldoorn and Nanjing. There's a meeting record, 45.56. So even that time from tonight would have got him inside the top 10. It just shows how consistently well Attila Molnar is running. João Coelho with a bit of an improvement, 46.37 to come in for second place, ahead of Jan Spillman in third, and a season's best for Gustav Nielsen of 46.72. Action coming thick and fast on the track tonight. It's the men's 3,000 metres, which is coming up in the next few moments. The schedule running pretty close to exactly on time. We look back at this race, and Molnar went out very strongly. He just started to catch up with him a little bit over the last 100 metres or so. Really good run from Spillman in the season's best time. Coelho was able to overtake Spillman into second place just on that final straight. Spillman just tying up a little bit. Taking a check on the women's triple jump, Leonis Perez, the leader, has had a second attempt, 14 metres and 3 centimetres, so no improvement on her leading mark of 14.19. She's comfortably in the lead. Athletes being introduced to the crowd for the men's 3,000 metres. Fastest in this field is Matthew Kipsang, who was second in Karlsruhe on Friday last week. The Kenyan 29-year-old, vastly experienced on the circuits. More dominant this season than he has been. Possible that his closest challenger will be Elzan Bibic of Serbia. Hopefully get a proper introduction to the athletes in a few moments' time, but the leading athletes in this field, in terms of when you look at their lifetime best times, then it looks like a battle on paper, at least, between Bibic and Kipsang. Also got the European steeplechase bronze medalist from Rome, Karl Bebendorf, the German, goes in this one. To introduce you to some of the leading contenders then, and Matthew Kipsang there, who ran that 7:38 in Karlsruhe last week. Going off at the same, well, side by side to Bibic. Bibic, the European indoor bronze medalist from 2023. Mohamed Chouangui, we just got a glimpse of there. Katrov of Greece, Sundström and Martinez, Engel Martinez. There's Scott Beattie from Great Britain. There's Karl Bebendorf de Baron, Fourmont. Karl Bebendorf there, lining up in the row behind. Achieved a new 1500 metres personal best in Karlsruhe. A 7:57 runner at this distance on the flats. This is Karl Bebendorf's distance. It usually has a few obstacles to chase. It's away for the men's 3,000 metres. "15 laps of this 200-metre track. And the pace that we're looking at, just at the bottom left of your screen there. The green wave light set to 7:36. And the red at 7:50. So that would be both outside of the World and European standards. Trying to figure out exactly what they're aiming for here. The meeting record is 7:42. The world lead, of course, set by Grant Fisher. We're going with the pace at the moment. Grant Fisher, who set that 3,000 metres world record. Now the Millrose Games in New York, that fascinating battle with Cole Hocker. It's a phenomenal race from Grant Fisher. If you haven't watched it back, do go to the World Athletics YouTube and catch up on that. It's a terrific race. And then he went and broke another world record, Grant Fisher, last night in the 5,000 metres. The David Hemery Valentine Invitational, won that in 12 minutes and 44.09 seconds. And Grant Fisher looks in terrific form at the moment, the American. I mean, what else could you ask for than a couple of world records in the space of just 6 days? On the right-hand side of your screen, though, the women's triple jump continues. And Sidi Salminen, with her third attempt, she sits in second place at the moment, 13 metres 85. She leap over 14 metres. She's very much capable of doing that and making this a real competition, not on this occasion. So back to the 3,000 metres. Pacer still doing his job, somewhere in between the two wavelengths, which is probably just about spot on. Just behind here is Mokesa Fikadu of Ethiopia. He's run 7:49.55 this season. It's quicker than that though, 7:42.66 within his capability. And then behind him is Matthew Kipsang, the Kenyan, the fastest on paper. And Andrew Alamisi of Kenya is currently sitting in third spot if you discount the pacer there. Let's try to see where Bibic is. He's a bit further back in the field at the moment, Bibic. Pacer's job is done, and now it'll be up to the athletes to see what they're fancying. Fikadu is leading the way, and just coming up on the outside here is Jian Wui. As we glance to your right, and Guyon in the triple jump. Guyon currently sitting in third place, 13.80. His best so far. Just about halfway through this, just over halfway through this 3,000 meters now. And Jianui is at the front of this group, leading the way. And Fikadu in second place. They're just going with this. Those behind, the pace looks like it's disappearing away from them into the distance. Kipsang now, maybe just starting to think about making a move. Slight gap opening up between third and fourth. So, pace being led out here by Jian Wui. And he is, he's an 8:15.24 runner. Now Kipsang said, I've had enough here, actually. I'm going to try and push this pace a little bit more. And Fikadu has gone with him. So Kipsang and Fikadu, a little bit of pushing and shoving, then a trip. Well, it was almost like Jian Wui was just fighting back a little bit against Fikadu there. And Fikadu's lost a bit of his rhythm, and it's actually brought the group a little bit closer back together. Kipsang, though, thinking about stretching his lead now. Just 600 meters to go, just 3 laps of this track, and Kipsang winding the pace up a little. Drawing down the gauntlet to Fikadu and asking if he wants to go with him. Just flirting with increasing the pace here, Kipsang. Kipsang and Jian Wui's come back again. Really interesting to see what he can do here. It'll be a huge performance from him if he can hold on to a top 3 position. Kipsang now is starting to stretch his legs a bit more. The cadence has upped, the effort increased. Kipsang looking up at the screen just to try and catch where his rivals are. And I just wonder whether Jian Wui thought. It's a strange move there. Jian Wui just moving out to the side, almost like he'd finished the race. But he's now put in another gear here, Jian Wui. Kipsang is working hard, but not incredibly hard, just to give a little glance over his shoulder, just to check that he's got enough of a distance behind him, and he does, and he's going to streak away for a comfortable win. And Matthew Kipsang takes a routine victory, 7:43, not particularly quick. no one seemed particularly interested in going with the pace set. It was a funny race, that one. It was up and down in terms of the paces, and every now and again there was a sign that Kipsang may want to increase it a little bit, but I think he realised he just didn't need to push it too much. Well, he's tried to keep his rivals at bay. It was Andrew Alamisi, another Kenyan. He came home for second place. Halfway through the triple jump competition, just to let you know, Lianis Perez has increased her lead, 14 meters 25 with her third jump. That's the trip that we saw a little bit earlier on. A bit of an issue between it was Jean Yuri and Fikadu. Anyway, Matthew Kipsang managed to keep himself out of trouble. See the backgrounds just gearing up now for the women's 60 meters hurdles final. Is doing a great job keeping things ticking over, making sure there's always action to watch on this track and on the infield as well, with the triple jump competition ongoing. So Jin Yuri actually came through for third place in the end. 7:46.49 is a massive personal best for him. Charles Wheeler in fourth place for Great Britain, just ahead of Scott Beattie. Season's best for Beattie. We were talking a little bit earlier on, by the way, about Callum Elsom. Didn't actually let you know where he was in the 1500 metres after keeping the big build up. Did finish in a 12th spot, 3 minutes 45.97 to open up his season, to make his comeback. A solid start to his comeback. There are the confirmation of the results of the 3000 metres. And Matthew Kipsang, the winner, 7:43.95. Back to the sprint track then, and the 60 metres women's hurdles final. The start of the big star who was meant to be here tonight, Letitia Bapte, was originally in the lineup, but not here tonight. Stramets then goes in 1. Moraro, Riche Moraro in 2. Crystal Morrison probably looked the most impressive out of those athletes in the opening heats. She goes in 3. Helena Giranova of Czechia goes in 4. Anja Lukic won the second heats, Serbia. She'll go in lane 5. Next to Victoria Forster, who she beat to first place in her heats. A double World University Games gold medalist. Sidoni Fia Tanotsoa goes in 7, and Laura Valette will go in lane 8. So this is the final of the women's 60 metres hurdles. And, the qualifying mark for the European Indoor Championships is 8 seconds flat. None of the athletes in this field have dipped below 8 seconds in the past. Can one of them put in a big performance? Stramets 1, Moraro 2, Morrison 3, Uranova 4, Lukic 5, Forster 6, Fiordanazzoa in 7, and Valette in 8. So it's a clean start, and it's a good start as well from Morrison in lane 3. Morrison leading the way, and just next to her, maybe just dipping in front, Helena Uranova, very close at the end. Slightly muted atmosphere at the end of that race. It's a thriller because I'm not sure just who got it at the end. Very, very tight. But the win has been given to Crystal Morrison, just ahead of Helena Uranova. So the Jamaican takes the victory. Slightly strange atmosphere for that race at the end. Made a really good start, Crystal Morrison. At this point, she was well in the lead. Great comeback, though, from Uranova. And actually, I can tell you that Fiordanazzoa, which we saw on the graphics, that the second spot had been given to Uranova. That's now been changed. And Sidoni Fiordanazzoa has been given second, just ahead of Uranova. It's a really strong finish from her, right on the outside. And focusing on these two. But the results have been changed again, just before my very eyes. There we go, confirmation of that as well. We saw at the end it was Morrison ahead of Uranova. That's been changed, and Morrison still the winner. But Fiordanazzoa taking second spot, just ahead of Uranova. And Karen Stramets was the fourth place athlete. Filipic in the triple jump. Oh, that's good. That's a lot better from her. 13:58. Oh, I think she's been given a red flag, you know. Oh, look nice, this jump. Let's have a look at it again. Just watch the board. Yeah, a little bit over. I don't think she knew it, though, Filipic. A lot of the time, the athletes do know. You can see as she came out of the pit, she was pretty happy with it. Just iron out that tiny technicality on the run-up, and maybe she can leap slightly closer to 14 metres. It's a foul, though, for Filipic. As Danishmaj gets ready for a fourth attempt. Here she goes. The European Indoor Champion. And that's not going to record a mark either. And that's more one of those ones that you think that she did know. That she'd overstepped the board. Just ducked out of the attempt a little bit as she went through the motions. Three more races on the track then. This is the men's 800 metres. It's a pretty good field, this as well. Lucky to have Ireland's Mark English competing tonight, but he's not on the start line. But instead, we've got Abdelati Alguest, who we just saw. I guess one of the fastest in this field, certainly the fastest this season. There's Thibaut Desmet, part of the 4x400 metres World Relay World Indoor Relay Gold Team from 2024 as the reserve on that occasion. Blue deck. Blue deck. Corentin Leclisio enjoying himself. Alvaro de Arriba, the 2019 European Indoor Champion. So he's had success. Some big medals indoors, also won bronze in 2017. Here's Manu. This is the men's 800 meters. Thibaut de Smet there, the fastest in this field in terms of lifetime best, but this season, just watch out for Abdelati Algues, close to his lifetime best form, won in Miramas recently, semis at the World Indoors in Glasgow last year, also been at the last 2 Olympic Games, but de Smet has the experience of being part of winning relay teams. You see the 2 paces that are being set by the wave lights then. 1:45 is the World Indoor Championships qualifying mark, and the red is the European Indoor Championship mark. The pacer is going up just ahead of that at the moment. Abdelati Algues is very, very close to getting that World Indoor Championship leading mark. He's 1:45.36. He's fractions outside of him. Can tonight be the night where he does dip underneath it. It's a little bit off the pace at the moment, so he's going to have some work to do, the Moroccan. There's de Smet. Season's best of 1:46.76. The pacer has done his job. And Algues will take the lead. So Algues leading the way, just ahead of de Arriba. 1:47.32 for de Arriba, his best this season. And they take the bell into the final lap. And it's still Algues ahead of Alvaro de Arriba of Spain, and de Smet is there in 3rd place. Now Algues stretching his lead, and he's chasing that world leading mark as well. Well, the World Championship mark, in fact, the qualifying mark. He gets through in 1:45.22. He's got a little bit closer. It looks like, well, we'll get the confirmation of results, but it looks like it's going to be a lifetime best for Abdelati Algues, and he's creeping closer to that qualifying mark for Nanjing. Alvaro de Arriba, 1:45.84 for him. Unfortunately for de Arriba, so he's inside the European Championship, European Indoors that is, of course, qualifying mark now, but just ahead of him still is Mariano Garcia, only just, again, by fractions, so he'll still need to improve on that, you would think, to get ahead of his teammate, but there are the national championships coming up as well, and it's about proving your form once you've got that leading mark and giving selectors something to think about. I guess just let that qualifying time, the pace you could see there with the white wave light, just drift a little bit too far at the start. There are the confirmation of the results there. Now Guess taking the win ahead of de Arriba, and Kiligetic of Kenya in 3rd spot. Blue Deck in 4th, just outside that European qualifying mark. De Smet, by the way, he already has the entry standard. And so does Mariano Blue Deck from Ostrava earlier this month. So still good to get some racing in the legs for those two. Not able to challenge for the win on this occasion. two more races to come up for you then. The women's 1500 meters in about 5 minutes time. It features Marta Garcia of Spain. Here is our guest. He's being interviewed. Let's listen in. Steadily improving. Here's our guest. Here the triple jump competition continuing. Still being led by Lyon Perez. Who's qualified by the top list at the moment. That means that in theory, all ratified by his federation, that he's done enough at the moment in terms of the times that have been set around the world. He would be in as one of the next best. Danishmaj, European indoor champion, best of 13.70 so far. This is her 5th attempt. Doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement for her. She's still got a season's best out of this so far, though. I think Lyon Perez, by the way, has dipped out of the competition now. She's leading away 14.25, which took a refusal on the 4th. Anyway, it's whether she feels like the job's done for tonight. Let's see if she returns. As we turn our attention to the women's 1500 meters. It's the sound of Eminem in the background, which has signalled throughout the night that another event is about to start. Before we get there, let's just see how Romania's Leana Ion gets on. She's in 4th at the moment. 13 meters 75 has put her in that position. This is her 5th attempt. Just have to check her stride a little bit there as she approached the board. Didn't feel like things were feeling 100% there. Just that moment there, just slightly apprehensive. You can see the far end there. The athlete's just getting ready for the women's 1500 meters. This is the start list. Lisa Rooney does not start this race, but Marta Garcia does, the Spaniard, the European bronze medalist from Rome last summer. Finished 10th in Glasgow last year at the World Indoors. Ludovica Cavalli of Italy
on your marks
reached the semi-finals of the Paris Olympics. She's also been a World Championship finalist back in 2023. She's a European cross-country gold medalist from December in terms of the team race. So watch out for her as well. Jocelyn Wind at the last Worlds and the World Indoors. The Swiss, Giulia Aprile of Italy, is running well this season. Vera Vitermes Hoffman has a personal best of 4 minutes 8 seconds, 0.73, and Christina Sasinek, or Maki Sasinek, has changed her name since she married Philip Sasinek. Sasinek there is another one of those to look out for, but they've just all been told to reset a little bit. I'm not sure what the issue was there. They're ready to go. I'll go through the processes again. So Marta Garcia is likely the athlete to beat. Well, here's Senni Salminen. 5th attempt then for the Finn. Sits in 2nd place, 30 metres 85. We know that she is a 14 metres plus jumper. And still can't quite nail it on this occasion, Salminen. Shake of the head. It's not quite going the way that she's had plans so far this evening. Still, one more effort to come for Salminen. And again, nothing from Leonis Perez, so it looks like she may have called it a day. That is Perez there. It's on the phone. So here we go then for the women's 1500 metres. And once that Philippine de la Vigne just adjusts her shoelaces there. And again, it's been held for a long time. Wittmann, final attempt for the German. 13.37 is her best from the first round so far. And there's not going to be an improvement for her. That's the end of her competition then for Wittmann. Finally we get underway then for the women's 1500 metres. See how Marta Garcia especially gets on here, and Ludovica Cavalli. It's also been in good shape recently. The two runners in the on kit, the Wave Lights paces shown on your bottom left, the green one, 4:06, which would be well within the European Indoor Championship qualifying standard for 4:12. Is quite what they're looking for on that occasion, but that is the pace. Garcia is quite happily just putting herself on the heels of the pacer here. So Marta Garcia doesn't want the pacer out of her sights, and she's looking pretty smooth in the opening stages of this race. With Jocelyn Wind in second spot, and actually Cavalli has gone to the front. Cavalli, by the way, who does not have the European Indoor Championship entry standard yet, so she's chasing that, the 4:08 that she needs. Both Nadia Battocletti and Tia Hilvisa and Marta Zanoni do in terms of her fellow Italians. Here comes Garcia. Now starting to make her move, just under 4 laps to go. Marta Garcia, another who needs that entry standard. Doesn't have it yet. So they're aiming for these two on-runners here. A time of under 4 minutes and 8 seconds. So will be Jocelyn Vind. Personal best of 4:10.42, so maybe slightly outside of her capability. She may have made a significant improvement, of course, so she'll still be chasing it. But Cavalli and Garcia, and Vind in a decent position. Doesn't want to let these two out of her sight, so now Garcia's going. So Garcia heads to the front ahead of Cavalli. So slightly more bunched up behind them. Garcia's looking pretty comfortable at this stage, so is Cavalli. Doesn't want to let Garcia too far out of her sights. Just a couple of laps to go now. Garcia looking to push the pace. Remember, the green wave light set for 4:06. If she can just stay with something to chase, basically it means that they'll get in way underneath the time of 4:08. They need to get the qualifying standard, and that is what Garcia is chasing. She doesn't let those green lights out of her sight too much, but it is starting to get away from her a little bit. So Garcia now with 1 lap to go needs to give it everything. In terms of Cavalli chasing it tonight, looks like it may have gone for her, but not yet for Garcia, who may just be able to put in one final burst. So Garcia leading away and chasing the green lights, which are getting away from her, but remember, they are set a couple of seconds a little bit quicker than what she needs. So Garcia starting to tie up a little bit. Maybe it's gone, but she's giving it everything on the final straight, tying up a touch. 4:08, remember, is what she needs to get underneath. Not going to do it tonight. 4:08.80. Massive scream that was let out at the end there. I'm not sure if that was from Marta Garcia. So 4:08.78, the meeting record though for Marta Garcia. She finished ahead of Clara Lieberman, the Frenchwoman who came in for second spot, ahead of Jocelyn Vind. Big PB for her. And Cavalli ended up finishing in 4th. Yeah, just looking at the roads to Apeldoorn. And Marta Garcia still hasn't quite done enough to beat the likes of Agueda Marquez and Esther Guerrero and Marta Perez. It is a meeting record for Marta Garcia. That is a big lifetime best for her as well, so she'll be pretty happy with that, as will Clara Lieberman. Just taking a little bit of a victory lap here in front of her home fans. And just trying to find some of her friends and family in the crowd. This is how things finished then. Marta Garcia with a new lifetime best again. Second time she's done that this season. 4:08.78 ahead of Clara Lieberman and Jocelyn Vind in 3rd. And Ludovica Cavalli, who led the way after the pacer dropped out, ending up in 4th position. closing stages of the women's triple jump. We've got one more event on the track left for you. That is the men's 60 meters hurdles. And Seni Salminen is getting ready for her last attempt. We've just missed Nea Filipic, who's gone into second place ahead of Salminen. 13 meters 88 for Filipic. So Salmonen's also dropped position since her last go. And as we said, she is capable of 14 meters and more. I think that this is probably going to be the last of the jumpers, because we haven't seen Leonis Perez since the third round. So here is Salminen to try and move into the lead, at least up into second. And it's not going to happen for her. So slightly frustrating night for Salminen, who will finish in third. Head down to hear from Clara Lieberman.
Un mot sur cette ambiance, cette atmosphère de folie qui vous porte vers la performance, ce public qui est dingue.
Ouais, il est tellement dingue que le coach m'a dit vraiment calme sur le début parce que tout le monde est excité. Donc j'essaie de fermer les oreilles pendant la première course et ensuite quand ça devenait dur, je les ai ouvertes et je me suis laissée porter.
Il est beau ce sourire et il n'attend que vos applaudissements. Clara Lieberman.
So it's the final event of the night, and it's the men's 60 meters hurdles. The triple jump is all finished. Leonis Perez ended up winning that. 14 meters 25. Just took the three jumps ahead of Nea Filipic and Seni Salminen. So that's all cleared up for you. The final then of the men's 60 meters hurdles. Romain Lecoeur in lane 1. Philippe Demchar will go in lane 2. La Raradus in lane 3. Looked really good in the heats. Serge Taha of Côte d'Ivoire in lane 4. Oleo Omanga looks to maintain his attempt to break into the top 3 of the best men's hurdlers at the moment to get into the European indoors. Theo Padlet will also be trying to do the same, but he's a little bit further off that. Yakub Al-Yuha goes in lane 7, and Richard Diawara Martingu in lane 8. It's the fastest in this field on paper. Al-Yuha didn't have the best of the heats. He's in the lane 7. Mangas look good this season. Lecoeur in 1, Demchar in 2, Laradus in 3, Taha in 4, Manga 5, Pedalev 6, Al-Yuha in 7, Diawara Martingu in lane 8. Away cleanly then, and it's a good start from Taha and as well Lara Reduce. But here comes Manga coming through to take the win in 7:59. So Manga keeps himself in shape with another victory. It's still not a quick enough time to go ahead of Pascal Martinot-Lagarde in the top three of the men's hurdlers. They're all fighting for those positions at the World Indoors. The French Championships coming up next week. It's going to be a fascinating battle, that. He's well inside the entry standard, of course, is Manga. He had to come through strong. Just needs to clean up that start because he's having a lot of work to do to make up time. Actually clattered that first hurdle, actually the penultimate one as well. So coming through for what is a fairly fast time for Manga, having taken two fairly hefty blows throughout that race, is still pretty impressive for Manga. That brings to a close, roughly, the action from tonight. Let's just listen in to the interview with Oriol Manga. Oriol Manga then with the meeting record. Pretty happy with his work in the national championships to come. Confirmation of the results. Oriol Manga winning ahead of Jeremy Lara-Reduce and Théo Pardre. And a personal best there for the Frenchman. So that brings a close then to our coverage from the Lyon indoor meeting. There are more streaming events to come from European athletics this week. Tune in on Tuesday and Wednesday. The indoor program, though, the build-up to Appledore, and all starting to come to a close. There's confirmation of the triple jump results. Leanis Perez, they said, declined her final 3 jumps. Leanis Perez, but still winning 14.25, the only to break 14 meters. Snea Filipic in second, ahead of Seni Salminen. So we've got more action on the way on Tuesday from Slovakia and Wednesday from Czechia. Keep up to date what's going on in the World Athletics Indoor Gold Tour as well. Over the coming days, the national championships are all coming up in the coming weeks, as well as positions are jostled for the European Indoors and the World Indoors. Some stunning athletics to come over the next 5 weeks or so. Well, thank you for your company tonight, and we'll see you again soon.